E aí, pessoal, eu sou o Matheus, Macedo, diretor de Relações Institucionais e Fórum da Liberdade do IE, e eu tô aqui no Russel Kirk Center, na Costa, Michigan, representando aqui o Instituto de Estudos Empresariais e o Fórum da Liberdade, e eu tô aqui ao meu lado, o diretor executivo, Jeffrey Nelson, vai dar algumas palavrinhas com a gente, e explicar um pouquinho o trabalho do centro. Jeffrey, thank you for your time, thank you for being with us.
Great to be with you.
And please, may we have a few words to all IE and Liberty Forum followers in Brazil, as well as for all Mr. Kirk's admirers.
Yeah, well, greetings to your institute and the IEE, and congratulations on all the wonderful and important work you're doing in Brazil to study and understand the foundations of freedom and order and justice, which are such a necessary dimension and element to studying freedom itself. And so I congratulate you, and wonderful program, and we're very grateful for the ongoing interest and friendship. And of course, we have a lot to learn from each other. We're both working in an age of consolidation and centralization, and in a period where the foundations of freedom and family and the sort of schools and the churches have all been turned upside down by various forces of liberalism, secular and otherwise. So thinking and studying, as Russel Kirk taught us to do, the deep roots of our tradition of freedom into antiquity, into the early modern era, and onto our own time is really essential to think about these preconditions of freedom. And that's what we do a lot of, and we think a lot of here. And then we think a lot about the American experience with struggling to reconcile the claims of freedom and virtue, and within our own political and cultural realm here, and then a little bit deeper, or a little bit more focused, I should say, studying the American conservative response and understanding of all this civilizational discussions, the beliefs, the practices, the institutions that were so important to shaping Western civilization, the American experience within it, and then the conservative sort of mind. But really, we are hopeful, looking forward always to what's coming, and making this a living tradition. It's not something dead. It's not something that a museum. When you come to Macasta, you walk into a whole tradition that is ever ancient and very, very new still.
Great. You mentioned the renewers, but how do you see the rising of conservative and libertarian movements all over the world, especially in Brazil?
It's ever ancient, ever new, right? I mean, every generation comes up and fights for these permanent things themselves. They may have a different, kind of front. In other words, some of the issues, some of the language, some of the strategies might be different, but we share a common human ground. Or common philosophical, historical, political ground for the most part. It's exciting to see that every generation really picks up the challenge, the flame. You have to figure out a way to carry the flame forward, as we did. But I see the movement as very strong, because I think we're on the side of truth. I think a lot of the what's going on in both the cultures that we're fighting are fads. They're temporary. They come and go. The 1960s weren't that much different. They're different in some ways, but the same in more ways. And some of the, so there's a common thread that's undermining a lot of the chaos and a lot of the challenges to traditional ways of life. So I think that young people, smart young people, will always gravitate to the truth. Well, most of them will gravitate to the truth. I have always that kind of confidence and hope. And this is a pious place. It's a humble place. But it's paradoxically maybe not a place where you come and find that you discover the majesty and the beauty of a whole civilization and way of life as well here, expressed in the little village of Macasta. So you're always welcome, and I hope to get to Brazil someday. So You got to figure out a way to help me get there.
Yes, great.
All right,
thank you for your time.
Thank you.